And welcome back to Hollowponds Solo Sagas, and today, as you can see, we will be playing our 7th episode of Alien. So, welcome back, and if you are a subscriber, thank you so much for returning. Your support is always welcome and I'm very appreciated. If you have not yet subscribed, can I please actively encourage you to hit the old subscribe button? You'll see the little thing at the bottom. Thank you very much to everyone who supports me in all the ways you do, in watching, in becoming a member of the support, and in all ways you support me. So, Alien. So we left our crew of the Red Dwarf, Lister, Rimmer, Crichton and Kat, with their 3 unknowns, the 2 military personnel and the engineer, the salvaging expert. They had just retrieved some samples of alien life forms, 2 different types of xenomorph aliens, a 7-foot tall, bipedal, leathery, skinned, tusked, with 1 tusk missing from memory, body, and 2 leathery, about half, 3/4 of a metre tall egg pod type things. The egg pods were contained within these hard, plasticky, transparent boxes, and the body was covered in a transparent sort of zipped up body bag, and they were brought on board the Red Dwarf by the salvaging crew, who then gave them instructions to pilot the Red Dwarf out to a drop-off point near Sharon Base. Now, at the time, I said I couldn't quite remember where Sharon Base came in. I looked it up. Sharon Base is a ZCT Corp base, which is mentioned in, I think, some of the Alien comics. But also Sharon Base is mentioned in a series of 3 trilogies that I began listening to again, which is set further in the timeline than the current Alien game is set. And Sharon Base is mentioned. Those are the 3 books by Tim Leben involving Predator. There's three Incursion is the one I'm listening to at the moment that mentions Sharon Base. And so that's where they were travelling off to. Now, off scene, I wasn't too sure what to do next. I wasn't too sure because I wasn't too sure where this was going to go. The solo guide, although good, is not as fleshed out. Hence, it's a free thing that's given away. It's not as fleshed out as some of the other guides are, and so some of the ways forward are a bit difficult to work out. So I kind of felt like I'd hit a bit of a dead end. I wasn't too sure what to do next. And so what I thought was, okay, so we're taking it off to a research base. It's out on the fringes. It's out in the midst of nothingness. They're going to want to do research. And that's why I started listening to those stories again, because they mention researchers into the aliens in those books. So I thought maybe it's a ground base. Maybe it's a ground base they're going to go to. And they're going to explore the ground base. So I thought, all right, if it's a ground base, I had a look around. I tried to see if there was anything which had details about a ground base that I could utilise in the solo play, give me a bit of information, a bit of background. And so I got the Destroyer of Worlds, because it does mention a ground base. And I started briefly reading through, because as a solo player, you don't want to read too far through, so as you know everything that's going on. And there was some nice base, there was nice bits in there. There's some stuff about incursions and some stuff about the team has gone there as basically almost like as a snatch and grab team. And it seems to be more military based. And I thought, oh, I might be able to work that in. That's pretty cool. I might be able to work that in. But is there anything better? Now, I hadn't read yet, because of the same reason, being a solo player, and I didn't know if I could use it for something else, Chariot of the God, which comes in the box set, the starter box. And so I briefly gave that a quick read through, and I thought, hold on, this ship, I don't know if you know the plot line for Chariots of the Gods. I'm not going to go through it in detail, but to start off with, the crew in... So this is a cinematic play. This isn't campaign play. Destroyer of Worlds is also cinematic play, not campaign play. And so Chariots of Gods starts off with the crew coming across a ship. Now it's an old derelict, 75 years old derelict, which is a research ship. And I thought, hold on, that's what we need. We need a research ship. We need something for us to go to, which is a research craft, and drop this off. And so I have read all about the ship in question, which is called the Kronos, which is the research ship. I read, so the book is split into, so I know some of the stuff as a solo player, but not in total detail, each room, just cursory to see if it would work. Yes. And I've read through cursory what's described in Act 1. Yes, I have not read Act 2 or Act 3 apart from the transition. So I know when Act 2 should start, and I vaguely recall when Act 3 should start, but I only really need to know when Act 2 should start. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to use Chariots of the Gods, and we're going to see if we can play through Chariots of the Gods in solo play, utilising some of the tools that we have for solo play, some of the tools from the Parts for Me in Guide, and some of the other tools that we have to work with, and see if we can play through Chariots of the Gods. Nice. So what we also have from Chariots of the Gods is we've also got the agendas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the agendas and we're going to sort them through, and we're going to see if we can use those also for this. So this is going to be Chariots of the Gods Act 1. The ship, the Red Dwarf, will drop out of FTL at the location where it's supposed to be. Our crew are going to go through their process, and so all 7 crew, including the 3 additional, who we still don't have names for, which we might have to come up with names for at some point, will be awoken by Mother, the Red Dwarf Mother Holly, as we drop out in the correct location. So we can imagine the scene. I'll roll out. We're still going to utilise our Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 scene dice with the stress dice. So this is a mechanic that Peter introduces in the Aliens RPG solo guide, which is for each scene you roll this. That's so nothing happens. If our xenomorphs turned up, then something weird starts happening. See, Act 2, you roll 2. If 2 of them turn up, something really weird starts happening. Act 3, if all 3 turn up, like an alien turns up, 2 turns up, something really weird, 1 turns up, something slightly weird. So as long as one of the xenomorphs turns up, something strange happens in that scene. Otherwise, the scene is quite normal. It's like the scene check within the Mythic emulator, where it says if it's an altered scene or a weird scene, or gives you a keyword scene, or it's the expected scene. That's basically what this is mimicking, that mechanic, using just these dice. So our normal scene, so you can imagine we have our FTL, so the cryo room. Let's grab the map. So we have our crew, so we have our cryo room. Everyone will be, we can imagine it's like a wheel with spokes coming out, and the spokes being the cryopods. They crack open, some lights are going off as Holly is beginning to awaken all aspects of the ship. Turn the life support on, air starts to breathe, we get the rustle of paper like at the beginning of the film Alien, and the crew begin to awaken. Our 4 core crew members, Lister, Rimmer, Crichton, Cat, are very suspicious of the other 3. Maybe we might see, because Lister is a bit more mouthy. Lister is the one who got a kick in from, so we might have, so what we're going to have is, because they were all went into FTL, we will take all of their stress down to 1 stress each, which will give them, because they are come out into this location and they're not too sure what's going on, and the 3 extra crew members are looking a bit dangerous and a bit leery, as our 4 main crew are starting to come out. There's a bit of vomiting going on. They're starting to sort themselves out. So Dave Lister, maybe Dave Lister, we're going to give Dave an empathy roll, just straight. So 3 dice, he has an empathy of 3, to see whether he can contain himself, or he's going to start having to go at these 3 and say, you know, like, what's going on? What are we supposed to be doing here? So nothing, no hits. So Lister can't contain himself. He's going to start to have a go and start to basically the Marine who knocked him out. He's going to go up to him and say, "What? I can't do the Liverpudlian accent. Right? They're like, what's going on? Like what are we doing here? Oh, that wasn't bad. What are we doing here? Like what's going on? No, that was awful. He's going to start having a go at him and say what's going on. The Marine is going to get a bit pissed off. I think that's allowed. I have to, because of the way things have changed and I've hit 1,000 subscribers. Thank you very much, Steve, very much. Every time I upload, I have to self-certify what sort of language I'm using. If anyone's got any problems with the sorts of language, do let me know and I will modify stuff because I don't want to upset anyone. But equally so, I'm British, and so being British, certain words are all right, and other words, like for other people, aren't all right. So getting pissed off in my colloquialisms is fine, and no one has any problems with it whatsoever. But other people do, and so do say. Right, so we will have. So Lister's going to go up to this Marine and start like basically badgering him and having a go at him. I think it's less about Lister's ability to manipulate someone and more about both of their ability to withstand the FTL process and withstand coming out of the FTL process, which I am going to call stamina. So I'm going to make Lister and this Marine make, dog catcher, make competing stamina checks, and the one who gets the highest is the one who's going to win out of the two, and the other one is basically going to flag too fast. Lister has a 4 strength and 2 stamina, getting 2 hits, which is pretty good. What's he can push strength. Oh, he might push that and see if he can get more than that. Which means he gets. Well, if you push, he gets a stress instantly, isn't it? No, but he does get extra stress because he's stressed out when he does that. So he's got 2 hits. Let's write that down. The Marine, on the other hand, dog catcher, has a 5 strength and 2 stamina. Oh, this Marine is really used to going into FTL and coming out of FTL and being functional and ready to roll as soon as he comes out. So Lister is going to go over to the Marine, push the Marine in the chest and say, like, what's going on? What is all this? What are we supposed to be doing here? You can't just tell us to go all over the place and then not tell us what's going on. The Marine is just going to smirk, push Lister back. Lister's going to go flying, and then the Marine is going to start doing Vasquez-esque chin-ups. What was it? It's Drake as well, isn't it? Vasquez and Drake. This is Aliens. Chin-ups on like just some of the overhanging bars, and start basically flexing and showing this Marine's what is it? Vigor? No, vitality. And strength in just maintaining, and the other Marine is going to openly laugh at Lister, who's on the floor on his arse, and the salvaging crew dude. I'm going to give the salvaging crew dude a empathy check because he might go, just don't mess with him. He's got a empathy of 2. No. So he's just going to sort of smirk and shake his head, and they go about their business, and they're all going to start getting kitted up. Now, as they all get kitted up and dressed, they get their kit back on, their flight suits, etc., etc. Crichton has probably, but I can't remember who mentioned this. It might have been PO, it may have been somebody else, but somebody else did point out that I was basing this on. It's not Bishop. No, Bishop does go into cold storage as well. Bishop, actually, in Aliens, Bishop is in FTL cryosleep. I think the first time we start seeing their synthetics not in cryosleep is in Prometheus and Covenant. I think up until Prometheus and Covenant, the synthetics also go into cryosleep. And I don't think the core book mentions whether synthetics have to go into cryosleep or not. If it does, do tell me and I'll check it up. So I think I'm going to say that Crichton has gone into cryosleep, and I'm going to base it on those synthetics rather on the David, or what was his name, Walter. So Walter was a much advanced synthetic, whereas David is one of the primary, like, beginning synthetics. But David, of course, goes a bit quirky. So possibly what we're going to say is the synthetics have to go into cryo because they get a bit quirky. They get a bit quirky when they're left out, and even sometimes the synthetic will be brought in and out of cryo, they try to minimize that, and it's only to basically check up and make sure that mother's okay. And mother might bring the synthetic out to do some stuff and then go back down again while still traveling at FTL speeds, because FTL speeds can mess people up. People don't have to go into cryosleep for FTL travel, but if they don't go into cryosleep for FTL travel, it causes them psychological problems. They have to check because it's traveling at those sort of speeds and those sort of messes at a quantum level with you. I'm making this stuff up, and then causes you to need to possibly have health issues. Anyway, I digress. All of them have come out of cryosleep. They are going to go off to the. So now we're going to start running through the Act 1 mandatory things. Now, because we're going to start Act 1, as they come out of cryosleep, we are going to shuffle all of the Act 1 personal agendas. So cinematic play uses pre-generated characters with personal agendas to try and a bit like old school Paranoia, to be honest. It was very reminiscent of Paranoia, giving people personal agendas. So I'm thinking I'm going to pull out 2 personal agendas. If they fit, we will adapt those 2 personal agendas to 2 of our crew members, and we're going to try and get our crew members to move towards these personal agendas. So if they don't fit, we'll cast 1 away and get drawn off until 2 fits. So what are our 2 personal agendas? We have Agenda 1, do your duty and help your fellow crewmates as best you can. Fine. Lucas's agenda. You're a synthetic undercover agent named Lucas working for the binational corporation rival to Weyland-Yutani. The rest of the crew don't know this. You have been informed that the Montreal will be redirected to investigate the Kronos, a science ship missing for 73 years. Well, okay, make sure to follow along with this investigation. Whatever you do, don't expose yourself as an android. All right. So, even though we've got this, which is you don't let anyone know you're synthetic. Let's say that this is Crichton, who's been very quiet. Crichton hasn't really done very much and stayed very much back in the scenes during the whole of the first half of this. So I'm going to say that this is Crichton. So although we all know that Crichton is a synthetic, so that part of this agenda doesn't work, what we don't know is that Crichton actually works for Bionational which is a rival corporation to Weyland, and Crichton has been sent communication, unbeknownst to us, the rest of the crew, including the salvage crew, that the samples. So though this says the USCSS Kronos, this is because the Bionational. I'm making all this stuff up as I go. Bionational knew that we were being relayed to go and pick up some samples, and thought it was highly likely that after the samples had been picked up, we would be asked to go to one of the deep space research bases, and Crichton has been now tasked with trying to retrieve as much data as possible still. So what was her name? I can't remember what her name was. She's the synthetic from the Incursion story, whose basic job is to go and get information about the xenomorphs and take it back to the Rage to then allow them to do stuff. So this is the Bionational Corporation has basically tasked Crichton with retrieving as much information as possible from the research base, which they were hoping that this would be sent to, and it just so happens that we have been. So we've got that, and so that is going to go to Crichton, and I think we will have do your duty and help your fellow crewmates as best you can. That is going to go to Rimmer. So during Act 1, we will have Rimmer and Crichton attempting to go through and do these agendas as well as other people. So during Act 1, we might make Rimmer and Crichton a bit more primary, which means Crichton's going to be a bit more primary. Oh, look, he's still got... Oh, Lister. I forgot about this. Lister's still got an eye patch. So Lister is -2 to ranged and observations for 9 days as he has a gouged eye. So Lister has got still got an eye patch. Okay, so we've come out of cryosleep. We now have our agendas as we're sticking into... So Act 1 is now started. As we come out of cryosleep, we will then kick off the first mandatory encounter within Act 1, Nobody's Home. So as we start to approach the location, so Nobody's Home is, as we start to approach the base that we're told to target, we're going to need to make a comtech roll, which is a navigation, because the research vessel that we've been told that we're going to go and find, which is the USCSS Kronos, which is what we were told last session, because we're doing a little bit of retcon here, isn't in the correct orbital location. It's supposed to be surrounding GJ163, which is the star. GJ163, Sharon Base, Sharon 13 Station. Sharon Base, Sharon 13 Station is where we were told to come to. That is, well, let's say that this is what used to be. Sharon Base is what Sharon Base was, which is the ZCT Corporation used to own it. It was a prison, and then they acquired it, used it as a research base, and it fell, and it was a research base. And since then, we've got, so we don't know this, but since then it's been used as a location for research ships to come to, stay in orbit, utilise the resources, do some research, and then go off to do other stuff. The USCSS Kronos should be in orbit here, which is what the instructions that were given to us, but it's not in orbit here. So we need to make sure that we're in the right place. So we need to do a navigation star charts seem not to be right. We need to make a comtech roll to work out what's been going on. That's basically me slightly twisting the event which has come here to fit what we're doing at the moment. So for them to be able to find where this is, we need to do a comtech roll. I reckon from memory, Cat is the best at comtech. Cat has 1 stress at the moment. 4, 5 for that, and 3 for comtech. So Cat is going to drop into the navigation chair that Cat has been doing a lot of, and also Cat seems to be our best hacker at computers, and Cat is going to attempt to work out where we are. Now I'm going to say that this is a demanding, no, it's hard, so which is -2 modification, so we take 2 dice off because it's hard. We have a failure, so we fail to identify where we are, and we're not too sure where the Kronos is, which makes an excellent, which is what really worked for me, because the next, we won't do new orders, which is the next mandatory yet. First, we're going to do brace for impact. Now, brace for impact is a non-mandatory, so it's a selective event that can happen, and it's the only event that I have. So as you can see, I've written 1 next to some, and once we bold, I've got some random events that might occur if we were going to roll a certain thing. Now, instead of rolling on this to see if that, oh gosh, look at that, it actually did anyway. All right, even the scene change says that something weird happens. So that is, I think that's the first one. Oh no, it might not be the first one we've had. So with this scene, which is running the nav check, we failed, plus something weird happens, which means that we'll trigger an event from the book, and the event being brace for impact. If you've got this box set, you've got all this information, you can follow along. Suddenly, the sensors on board the Red Dwarf start to fire off, that there is like klaxons start going, sirens start going, there is an emergency as the Red Dwarf begins to fire off a collision warning that something is going to come in, and we've got a collision coming along. So we will give them, so what does it say? It says we need to do a piloting at -2 to avoid the collision. So first off, let's have Rimmer is going to assist Cat in doing a nav check to make sure we can work out what's going on. See if we can see it coming. Does it say anything about everyone gets stressful? And I can tweak this a little bit. Right, no, it doesn't mention stress. So Cat, who's already sitting there, is going to see if Cat can run some sensor checks to see what's happening. No. So what's happening, we do not detect. So what we've got is a -2 piloting roll. So when it comes slightly too late, everyone's in their chairs now. So who's got the best piloting? So Rimmer's a good pilot. And I think Crichton is the best pilot, but Rimmer being our navigation officer is going to be piloting at the moment. So Rimmer is in the seat, and we are going to say to Rimmer, as you're in there running your own double checks of what Cat is doing, you see that the clear as day, there is the USCSS Kronos with all of its running lights are off, which is very weird. So just appears out of nowhere and is on a collision course for the Red Dwarf. We need Rimmer to make a piloting check to avoid a collision with the Kronos. This says it's a -2 for that collision, which kind of works as well because we don't see it coming, which gives Rimmer 1 stress dice and 3 to check. We just need 1 hit and we'll avoid impacting. No hits. Now we can push this and get put a second stress dice in. I mean, hitting actually does help story-wise because it cripples the Red Dwarf temporarily. But I think Rimmer would mostly, let's see, will Rimmer push this roll? I don't know because, I mean, not pushing the roll helps the story, but I think Rimmer would try and push the roll because Rimmer is doing his duty and trying to help the crew because that is Rimmer's agenda. So we're leaning towards a yes, cancelling out, neutral, you're leaning towards yes, yes. Rimmer is going to attempt to push the roll and try to avoid this. We get 3 hits. Okay, so Rimmer closely avoids, that's a good hit. So that's a success and then some cool stuff. So Rimmer using piloting skill that everybody is impressed by. I'm gonna give Rimmer an extra experience point for that. We didn't do experience points yet. I should really do experience points. I'll do that at the end of this session in between and I'll tell you what happens next session because they might be able to increase their skill sets. So Rimmer working fast on the controls. It's all very boring because it's just hitting keys and triggering off jets and different thrusters. Just avoids the collision. So let's see. Let's give a plain piloting roll, and this is to see if any damage is done to the ship. Let's say there's minor scraping as the ship passes across the 2, and there's some damage. We will say we're going to lean towards no. There is no actual damage. So no actual damage. Is there any damage? No. So very much no. So very much there is no damage. So Rimmer, it's just paintwork damage as Rimmer just dodges out the side, and there's a gut-wrenching scraping sound as the 2 crafts slide against each other, and then sort of maybe shall we make them? Do they? So we'll lead towards yes. So yes. So basically, as they slide together, they start to slow each other down, and they're basically close to each other, which means that Rimmer should be able to closely if they want to dock or do anything, they should be able to dock with the Kronos. This then will move on to at this point, the mother on board, so Holly on board Red Dwarf will chime in and is now going to inform our crew that there's an incoming message from Wayland for the highest executive officer. I know what's going to happen here because Rimmer will then do that, but what I might have that one of the Marines is going to step forward to do it, which means that Rimmer would, of course, say, no, I'm the highest officer, to then needs to go over and speak to Mother to receive the signal and the instructions directly. We won't actually, we'll just have both of them will go, because it's easier than making more rolls and then having them do a clash of wills. They'll both go over to find out what it is. Because you have to go through, you have to lock the door, so the message comes through very much alien. Basically, the communication has come through that this is the USCSS Kronos. There's no messages have been received from USCSS Kronos for a long enough duration of time, and the Weyland-Yutani would like an update as to the status of the research vessel and to find out what's been going on. It's kind of shortcuts and sort of, so what we've got here within the book is it says that they know that there's something going on, that we need to do a salvaging mission, and we're instructed to do a salvaging mission. What we're now finding, now we need to sort of slightly twist that to fit our story, because Weyland doesn't know what's happened on board that craft. We don't know what's happened on board that craft. So we need to find out what's happened on board that craft. Now what we do know is it's a research ship. And so what we might be able to take into this reasonably is find out what's going on. So I'll write this down. Find out, so one, find out what's going on and why it's gone quiet. Two, what we've got? Two, that now we can do, if in trouble, recover any data and samples. And three, save any senior crew. Now this says save crew members on the Kronos, but I think Weyland would only really care about the senior scientific research crew. The rest of the crew, Weyland couldn't care less about. So we are given 3 instructions and told that this is now instructions. You know, if you don't do this, you forfeit all money, all bonuses, plus they will basically prosecute you, because in your contract it says that you need to do this stuff if they tell you to do it, because you're out in space. You are a representative of Weyland-Yutani. There's no way out. Lister's going to then probably kick off. Kat is going to then sort of outline, this is basically what we have to do. We do not have a choice. This has all gone completely beyond what I thought was going on, but this is basically what we have to do. So now the crew knows. Basically, now we're wedging this story in to give us the way. You know, this is very similar to you all meet at a tavern. Here's your quest. We're trying to get this wedged in. So the Ghost Ship. This was called Ghost Ship, which is a mandatory event, which is where we find out these things. We're told that we need to do a salvage, and then we go on board. The Red Dwarf is still functional, so if they wanted to, our crew could basically say, sod that, no, we're not going to. Now, one thing that also happens is that the mother on board Red Dwarf, Holly, will give us the plans of the Kronos, which just so happens to be on the back. This is all probably because of this green is going to go, this is all looking transparent to you because of the background is, my green screen behind is this green. So let me show you on this. We have basically lovely maps that we can do little put counters on and go around and then do stealth mode type things and see if, you know, who knows, there might be something horrible on board this that tries to attack us and kill us. Oh, it's an aliens game, we know there is. We are then told to do a boarding action. Now, our crew now has to try and work out, so we've got boarding, party, mandatory. So what we'll do, what time? All right, we'll do this and then we'll end just as they're about to go board, and then we'll start the boarding action as of part 2, act 1, part 2. So to board, what we're going to need to do is match speed. Actually, what we might do first is for that scene, which is basically them receiving the message, we'll see if there's something weird that they detect, but there's nothing weird that they detect from that one. New scene. So they've all got this information. This information has been told to everyone. Maybe they're all sitting around in the galley as both Rimmer and the lead Marine, who we are going to call Elliot. They're going to introduce themselves. We will have Elliot. We will have Parks. Elliot and Parks These are people, these are playtesters and the author of Hostile that just happens to be on this desk whilst I'm playing this. Elliot and Parks are the Marines, and we'll have Salvage is... Was there a single woman who playtested this? Kerry could be a woman. So the Salvager is Harrison. So it's P. Elliot, P. Elliot, P. Parks. So it's Paul Elliot, Phil Parks, and Kerry Harrison. Elliot and Rimmer will both tell everybody the information about the Kronos has gone silent for a period of time. So they would have been travelling for some time. I can't remember how many days it would be. From where they were, it would have been a good period of time. 16, 32, 64. So 64, so 2 months. So they've been travelling for about 2 months to get here. So over this period of time, the base has gone silent. They have been told to invest, so 2 months, okay. Let's say 3 months. So when they were sent there, their last update was already late. And now it's 3 months later, they have heard nothing from the Kronos for 3 months. They need them to go on board and find out why it's gone quiet for 3 months. If they are in trouble, recover any data and samples they can. And as a final thing, save any of the senior crew. They are instructed that this is what they need to do. So first off, what they need to do is, of course, they need to dock. And so their crew are going to start to work out how they can dock. Now docking, what have we got here? So first off, they need to match the speed and course, and then they can attempt to do a boarding action. They need to attempt to extend the umbilical cord and then get in, or they're going to need to do a spacewalk to get across. So I think based on the last spacewalks, they'll probably try and extend the umbilical and get that in, which is apparently would be a heavy machine roll to get in once it's extended. So we'll do a piloting roll. So first off, the crew are going to attempt to, so it goes, once the boarding party enters the derelict ship, so I haven't read each of these events in detail. I've only very cursorily read them to sort of vaguely know what's going on so I don't really miss anything. But then I need to read it more in detail. Enter the derelict into stealth mode. So basically we're going to need to also then do a scan. So to get on board, we need to do pilot roll to match our speeds. Then we're going to need a heavy machine roll to connect the umbilical. And then we need, now what it's going is players need to decide, so we need to slightly retcon as well to be able to give multiple people suits. So we know that Lister's got a suit, we know that there's one suit that we created that needs to be, and then we'll go also patch suit. So we need to pilot, heavy machine roll to connect, patch the suit to give us 5 suits, 3 for the 2 Marines, the Salvager, Lister, and then we've got 1 spare suit that someone can go, which leaves 2 members of the crew on board because we're short 2 suits. All right, so first off, what we'll have is we'll have that Rimmer is going to jump into the seat and instruct Crichton to attempt to assist. So Crichton is going to assist. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Crichton do a roll, and then any of the successes that Crichton gets, Crichton will give to Rimmer, who will do the actual roll. Crichton gets no successes. Crichton can't push because Crichton is synthetic. So Rimmer is going to attempt to do the piloting roll and get the Red Dwarf to match speed and rotation with the Kronos to allow the umbilical cord to be attached, where Lister and Harrison are down near the umbilical cord waiting to do their part of the job, which is to actually extend the umbilical cord and then connect the umbilical cord. They get 1 hit, so Rimmer gets 1 hit, which is enough to match speed, because it's it's a standard thing. So the 2 ships have now matched speed, with Rimmer not needing to have a stress roll and a panic roll or up his stress. So Rimmer's doing good. Rimmer is abiding by Rimmer's agenda. Now Crichton is probably going to want to go on board, so Crichton is going to want to talk his way into boarding. I'll make a note of that to make sure I don't forget. Maybe Crichton can say, if we run out of, I don't need oxygen, I'll use the suit to, there we go. Crichton is going to try and start, Crichton will already start saying, possibly it might be a good idea for me to go on board. I mean, I don't need to take oxygen because I don't breathe, but I can still wear the suit to make sure that I don't become contaminated with anything. So that means there's more oxygen for other people. Now that is a good excuse. So Crichton is going to start doing that to try and get on board. Now the two things that are in line with each other, now they're going to attempt to extend the umbilical extension between the two ships, which apparently is a heavy machine roll. So now Lister will step forwards and attempt to do that. We will have the salvaging expert. Has salvaging expert got heavy machine? He does indeed, or she does indeed. Heavy machine, so it's a 5 and a 3, giving an 8 dice. If there's loads of weird cuts in this, it's because the aeroplanes are going over again, which means it's loud as. So any of the hits that we get from this one, which is the salvage expert, will be passed over to Rimmer and help Rimmer. 2 hits, all right, so that means that they're both going to work together really well. So unless Lister rolls, who's gone 2 stress at the moment. Well, actually, instead of getting 2 hits, he gets 2 extra dice. So then he gets a 4, 5, 6, 7, giving 9 and 2 stress dice. So this is attempting to extend the umbilical. 2 hits, good enough. Okay, so the umbilical is extended across between the 2 ships. And is then the two, Harrison and Lister, rush across and begin to bolt it together. At this point, if I remember rightly, here we go. So what they will discover as they rush across and begin to bolt, they see that the airlock that they're connecting against to is heavily damaged. What it looks like is it's been battered from the inside, and it's all manked up. So they've connected it, then they're going to need to probably cut their way through to get into it. But once they start cutting through, whatever's in it is going to come out, and they're going to need to latch. So they need to work out, all right, so I'll write this down as well. So what we're going to need to do is work out who goes in. So the 3 salvage experts, they're definitely going to go in. So what I'll do between now and next session is I'll create their characters. We will have Lister is going to go in as a mechanics expert, and Lister has a suit. And then we're going to need to work out who the 5th person that's going in is. I am going to make Crichton. Crichton is going to use empathy in an attempt to convince them to allow Crichton to go across, with the reasoning that Crichton is a medical expert, that Crichton is the calming presence that keeps everyone calm, and that Crichton needs to go across. Now, because of that, I'm actually going to give Crichton 2 extra dice, because I want Crichton to go, and Crichton wants to go to fulfill Crichton's agenda. Crichton puts forward a case, and we'll say that 3 dice, that's good enough for Crichton to convince everyone that Crichton is the best choice. So who goes inside is going to be Lister, Crichton, and then the 3 salvage crew. Now Rimmer is going to want them to look for a suit, at least 1 extra suit, so Rimmer can go on board, and Kat is going to try and stay out of going on board as much as possible. They're all going to get geared up. The three, do they have motion sensors? Do they have motion? Oh, I know. First off, Kat, now they've connected up, before they actually cut through, Kat, they are going to attempt to do a comp tech roll, and then 3 with 1 stress to try and see what the atmosphere is inside the ship, because there's some information about that that's useful to them. 1 hit is enough. 1 hit is enough to be able to get some data. Now, what's inside? So the life support is down, is off. The ship is powered down. All that Kat can tell is that it's freezing cold, and that there's no, I think it's freezing cold and there's no oxygen. Let me just double check. To open the outer air lock will require a cutting torch and hurry up. I remember that right. Anyone taking environmental reading finds the air is stiflingly stale and the temperature is below freezing. So the environment, here we go, environment on board the Kronos. The interior is in a deep freeze state. So Cat reports to the crew that the Kronos is in a deep freeze state. The temperatures are sub-zero and it's freezing. They will need to keep their suits on. Also, there is no power within the Kronos at the moment. So something has happened to the power. The mother is offline and only interior, very dim interior emergency lights would be on if any lights are on at all. And that the air from the environmental scans is coming back as saying that the air is stale with high concentrations of carbon dioxide and the air scrubbers are obviously offline. So that's what they know about the insides. So they've got equipped up. We need to have a machine roll to make sure that, actually, to make sure that Crichton's suit is sealed properly, which is a 4. So Lister will do this, and a 3 and 2 stress. So Lister is going to attempt to fix up the environmental suit for Crichton, getting 1 hit, which is enough. So the environmental suit for Crichton is fixed up. They're all patched up. The environmental suits are on. They've checked all their oxygen. There's the crew. Does the crew have multiple motion sensors? No. They have, the Marines will have 1 motion sensor between the Marines. So the Marines have a motion sensor, but only 1. So if they split up, 1 group has motion sensors. They have 1 motion tracker between them. So the piloting roll was done, heavy machine roll was done, patch suit is done. Crichton wants to go on board and that's allowed. Lister and Crichton are going on board. They're short 2 suits. Rimmel wants them to get a suit. The only thing they have to do is they need to cut their way in, and that we'll do next session. So we'll start next session with the cutting torches out and Lister attempting to cut into the Kronos, and they will start their boarding action. Thank you very much for watching me through to this point. I think we're going to be able to get this to work, and hopefully that you can take some suggestions from how I'm doing this to incorporate them into your stories. And that's about it, really. Thank you very much to my subscribers. Thank you very much for being with us, and thank you for following me through. Someone posted onto Facebook that they've been watching and following these adventures since I was at 300 subscribers. If you watch this, thank you very, very much. I think your name was Paul. Thank you very, very much, Paul. I very much appreciate it. And anyone, such as I know Pio has been following from very early days. It is very much indeed. This is now, I'm recording this on the 26th of July, because I like to record ahead of time. This isn't coming out into August. But this is now my 1-year anniversary. I've been doing this for a year now. So thank you very much to everyone. If you've been subscribing, thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. All members, thank you so much for your support. And everybody else, thank you for your support. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome week. And remember to watch those corners, because out in space, no one can hear you scream. See ya.